These are the headlines. Israel says it's hit hundreds of Hezbollah positions in the deadliest day between the two sides since 2006. The Lebanese Health Ministry says that over 490 people have been killed. Harrods investigates whether current staff were involved in any of the rape and sexual assault allegations against the former owner, Mohammed Al-Fayed. Prosecutors say the suspected gunman arrested near Donald Trump's golf course wrote a letter saying he planned to assassinate the former president. Plus, the inquiry into OceanGate's Titan sub's implosion reveals the company's CEO dismissed safety concerns from a former operations director in a heated exchange before the accident. And a space capsule carrying 2 Russian cosmonauts and an American astronaut has returned safely to Earth in a record-breaking mission.
And a space capsule carrying 2 Russian cosmonauts and an American astronaut has returned safely to Earth from the International Space Station in what was a record-breaking mission.
They've been up there a while, yeah. These cosmonauts touched down in Kazakhstan after 374 days in space, which makes it the longest single stay up on the International Space Station. And one of them, Oleg Koyonenko, who's 60, has also set a personal record for the person who has spent the most time in space, 1,111 days across 5 trips. That's like 3 years plus.
That's a long
of their
time.
lives in space.
I pointed this out earlier, but they don't look well. They don't, do they?
Do you have a nice holiday?
It's not
cold.
like a spa trip, is it? No.
Maybe that comes next.
World leaders gather at the 79th UN General Assembly with the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East at the top of the agenda. Plus, a new poll shows Republican Donald Trump leading his Democratic opponent Kamala Harris in some key battleground states. Well, the state of California is suing ExxonMobil over its alleged role in global plastic waste pollution. In the first-of-its-kind lawsuit, California's Attorney General has accused the oil giant of misleading the public about the effectiveness of plastic recycling. The lawsuit seeks to hold Exxon accountable for allegedly falsely promoting all plastics as recyclable. Of the 40 million tons of plastic waste generated by the U.S. in 2021, only 5 to 6% was recycled. In a statement responding to the lawsuit, ExxonMobil said that its advanced recycling process is effective and the company has kept more than 60 million pounds of plastic waste out of landfills using the method. The company also blamed California officials for failing to act on a flawed recycling system.
6 o'clock, good morning. Here are headlines today. Fears of a full-blown conflict in the Middle East after the deadliest day between Israel and Hezbollah in almost 20 years, and thousands flee from southern Lebanon.
A crackdown on welfare fraud and a repeated pledge to reduce net migration, so Keir Starmer prepares to deliver his first Labour Party conference speech as Prime Minister.
The clean-up's underway in parts of England, hit by flash flooding. Some places saw more than a month's worth of rain in just 24 hours.
Enough is enough. Good morning. Calls for a full public inquiry into the fall of the funeral firm Safe Hands, which collapsed owing tens of millions to customers. 2 years on, could this signal fresh hope?
In sport, as Everton prepare to welcome new American owners, could a multi-million-pound takeover restore the club to its former glories after years of frustration for the club's fans and offer a fresh start?
Now, a secret court battle in the United States to determine who will control the future of the Murdoch media empire has concluded, but its findings are expected to remain private.
Yeah, the case is reminiscent of the hit TV drama Succession. It's believed to have arisen out of a rift within the family. And it could have implications for the news companies they own, which are watched, of course, and read by millions of people every day.
Let's have a look at this morning's papers, shall we? Starting with the Times. Lots of the front pages are looking ahead to the Prime Minister's speech at the Labour Party conference, which is happening later on today. The Times says Sir Keir Starmer will announce plans to crack down on benefit fraud.
The Guardian leads with our top story this morning, the tensions in the Middle East. Lebanese health officials saying that Israeli airstrikes against Hezbollah, which is a proscribed terrorist organisation by the UK, have now killed nearly 500 people, including 35 children.
The Metro's top story is about the rise of e-bike seizures by police. The paper says threats to pedestrians and links to vicious street crimes are behind the increase. There's a great story inside one of the papers this morning about Worcestershire sauce. Do you like a bit of Worcestershire sauce?
In a Bloody Mary. Yeah.
I was just going to say
Am I
in a
even
Bloody
allowed
Mary.
to say that at this time of the morning?
You are. You just did. You're allowed. Definitely allowed. Have you also heard of Henderson's relish?
Well, this is the kind of northern equivalent that maybe isn't equivalent.
The Yorkshire version. It's not the same. Hasn't been going for quite as long, but still very, very well established and very well loved in Yorkshire, across the world. So Henderson's relish have started to put Worcestershire sauce on their labels, or the word Worcestershire. Do you know why?
Because it sells.
Because they're sending those bottles abroad, and the original tagline was strong and northern, and when they send them abroad, people don't understand what strong and northern means.
North of where?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should tell them.
North of Worcestershire.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, that's interesting.
So
It's
the
like one of
people
those sort of Stilton,
Yes.
Melton Mowbray type ownership rows on food, yeah.
Yeah, the people in Worcestershire aren't happy.
And if you're passing by the River Thames, you might spot a new floating tourist attraction which opens its doors to the public today. Tower Bridge was raised yesterday to allow the Spanish warship entry into London. It will be docked in East London until the 6th of October and open to visitors who can discover what life was like aboard a 17th century ship.
At 6, Sir Keir Starmer promises light at the end of the tunnel in his first Labour Party conference speech as Prime Minister. But he says people must face the storm first.
The work of change has begun. The patient, calm, determined era of politics as service has begun.
He insists that keeping a cool head during challenging times will help build a Britain to last.
Good evening from Liverpool. This was as clear a pitch from Keir Starmer as to what he wants to do as Prime Minister as I've heard. We'll bring you the key moments shortly.
What do the polls make of the new PM? I've been taking a look.
Also tonight, Israel says it's launched a fresh wave of strikes in Lebanon, killing a top commander of Hezbollah in Beirut. Real-life succession. 93-year-old Rupert Murdoch fights his children in court over who will take over his multi-billion-dollar media empire. And we meet the 18-year-old from Loch Lomond, who's an electric powerboat racer.
On BBC London, a weapon never to be used on human beings. A father whose son was fatally stabbed welcomes the ban on zombie-style knives.
TSB has apologised to customers after an online payments glitch left many without benefit or salary payments. The High Street lender said a systems error had been responsible for payments not appearing in customers' accounts. The bank said it had fixed the problem by 2 p.m.
And the prices of the so-called skinny jab drugs, Wegovy and Ozempic, in the United States are under the microscope at a Senate hearing today. We'll have all the very latest.
Brixton Prison is failing to prepare inmates for release, with almost half saying it's easy to obtain drugs, according to inspectors. They visited the South London jail in June. The Ministry of Justice said significant strides had been made.
A woman who went to court for holding a placard at a pro-Palestinian rally showing Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman surrounded by coconuts has filed a complaint to the police watchdog and Crown Prosecution Service. Lawyers for Maria Hussein from High Wycombe say the case should never have gone to trial. She was acquitted earlier this month. The CPS is considering the complaint. And police seizures of illegally modified e-bikes soared in the past year. A Freedom of Information request found 937 e-bikes were confiscated in the year up to August, compared with 511 during the previous 12 months. City of London Police seized one capable of reaching speeds of 70 miles per hour.